Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And surprisingly, it's been a pretty busy week overall as we head into those big events next month this June. Very exciting stuff there, cannot wait. But today we actually got some really good news for that Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. I know there's a lot of questions still on whether or not this will make it through regulations, and well, we definitely got a good sign today, so we'll talk about that a little later on in the video. And then also, Sony's starting to talk a little bit more publicly about some of their future plans, including multi-platform. It does seem like Sony is prepared to make a major push into multi-platform this generation, so we'll talk about that one a little later on in the video as well. Per usual though, if you do find yourself enjoying the video, go and hit that like button below. It does help out the channel a ton. And while you're at it, go and hit that bell notification and subscribe button as well. That way you can keep up to date with all of the latest gaming news. Other than that though, let's just go and jump right into things. Actually starting off with some good news here for PlayStation, being about God of War Ragnarok. Of course, some fans out there still are a little concerned on whether or not this game will actually release in 2022. It still doesn't exactly have that definitive confirmed release date, and because there's really just been so many delays here in recent years. And you know, because of all of that, some fans, they just want that exact release date to be 100% sure it will be coming this year. And while we still haven't gotten that just yet, we did get a good sign today that it will indeed release this year. That's because they just announced Ragnarok's accessibility options. They did just reveal it has more than 60 accessibility features, including text size, controller remapping, high contrast mode, traversal assistance, among several others. This is all very nice to see and everything, but it's also a good indication that they're already publicly talking about this, and that could be a sign that they're already ready to have an even bigger reveal with an official release date for 2022. Now, this is just the way I personally look at it, but I do believe it will release sometime this year. Not only because of this, but also because the art director seems very confident in a 2022 release. Plus, it was already delayed once. I just don't see it getting delayed 2 consecutive years in a row. I would definitely be surprised if that was to be the case. With that said though, just one little extra bonus here is that some of the new footage that they showed today, it does kind of appear that it's a bit of an upgrade compared to when we last saw God of War Ragnarok. Next up here, speaking of games on track to release in 2022, we did get an update on an upcoming Xbox console exclusive being none other than Scorn. Now, we haven't heard about this game in a little while, but there was originally a lot of anticipation for this game thanks to its striking atmosphere and its art style. It's interesting and disturbing all at the same time, but the studio was asked on whether or not it was still going to release in 2022, and they did respond by simply saying, "We're still on track for launching this October." So there you have it. If you've been looking forward to playing Scorn this year, set your calendar for October because it doesn't look like that's changing as of this moment. Now, I will say for myself, I am personally interested in this game. It is supposed to have some Metroidvania aspects to it, which is one of my favorite genres, and I really do think that the world itself is just so fascinating. Yeah, for some it might be a little gross or even spooky, but for me, I am interested in what they have shown so far. So I am hoping this one will be as good as it looks, but that's the good thing here. The wait is almost over, and again, it will release this October. Now, we also got yet another event announced for the month of June, this time for the PC Gaming Show. The PC Gaming Show is set to return on June 12th, which is actually the same day as the Xbox Bethesda showcase. I'm a little surprised they didn't want to space that out a little bit further, but the PC Gaming Show will take place at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Xbox Showcase, on the other hand, goes live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, so this is a back-to-back event. Certainly, it'll be a very exciting day for gamers with just a ton of announcements, and really, it's starting to feel like the spirit of E3 is continuing on. Technically, this would be the Summer Game Fest and all, which I think originally was concerning for the community, but things are really starting to shape up well here, and it looks like the Gamers Holiday will live on in 2022. Now, as for the PC Gaming Show, though, I do understand that they haven't exactly had the best showcases in the past, but they did note that more than 45 games will be featured at this event, so expect plenty of game updates and announcements to be made here. Of course, though, if you do miss out on this event, I will try my best to give you all of the highlights at this showcase. That right there is why you subscribe. I will keep you up to date with all the latest gaming news, including these events as well. Let's go and talk about that Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, though. This really has been just such a huge topic all year long, as truthfully, it's one of the flat-out biggest things that's ever happened in the game industry, period. I mean, we're talking about a nearly $70 billion acquisition here, and because this can change the landscape of gaming and all of the ramifications that follow a buyout like this, it has brought up various questions, including whether or not it will actually make it through regulations. Well, about that, we did get an update today thanks to Microsoft's president and vice chairman, Brad Smith. In an interview, he was asked about the Activision Blizzard buyout, and check out his response here. It's moving fast, at least fast enough for an acquisition of this size. We have received requests for information on this subject here in Brussels, but also in London and Washington. We answer questions, we give briefings, and we provide the information requested. One of our attorneys summed it up nicely by saying, "We're coming to the end of the beginning, and now we're entering the beginning of the middle. It's a long process, and we're still at the stage where we're answering questions. For us, of course, the sooner it is done, the better, but we will respect the process." So this is actually really good news for Microsoft. Immediately, he did note that the acquisition is moving fast, which is exactly what you want to hear, which we'll come back to here in just a moment. But ultimately, what he said was that they are in the middle stages of this acquisition. And that is a very good sign moving forward, especially considering they announced their intent to buy Activision Blizzard just 4 months ago in January. So that's a great sign hearing that they've already made that much progress, and if things do continue to progress the way they are, my guess would be that the acquisition will be complete sometime in early 2023. Now, I know some might think that it will finish up by the end of this year, which technically it could, but keep in mind this is an absolutely massive acquisition, and as Brad Smith points out himself, it's a long process. So I would just say to kind of sit tight, but technically, it could finish up as early as this year, which, based off of what we're hearing here, that's certainly not out of the realms of possibility. I mean, if they're already at the midpoint as they claim, and as long as things continue to go smooth in terms of regulations, we could maybe hear something around October or December of this year. But still, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up or anything like that, and for me, I would still expect early 2023. But at the same time, I mean, you never really know. Microsoft is an absolutely massive company, and they want to get this done as quick as possible. And I tell you, if and when this happens, Xbox Game Pass is going to be just flat out crazy. Of course, Microsoft has already confirmed that Call of Duty and other unnamed popular franchises will remain multi-platform. What that means for IPs such as Diablo, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, etc., that all kind of remains to be seen. But the real winner of this buyout has always been clear, and that is Xbox Game Pass subscribers. I mean, you're talking about a massive catalog of games coming to Game Pass, and that includes all future content day one. I mean, Xbox Game Pass is already widely viewed as the best deal in gaming, and with Activision Blizzard as well, I mean, this just kind of catapults it into a whole new level. It's just kind of crazy to see what they're doing over there, but I think with Activision Blizzard and all the other studio acquisitions that Microsoft has made in recent years, Microsoft is really setting up Xbox Game Pass to be a killer app. And I mean, I think from 2023 onward, I mean, you're just going to see a ton of games launched directly into this service with just all of that first-party content that they have, including third-party partnerships as well. I believe they have more than 30 games in development, so the next couple of years is going to be pretty crazy, I think, for Xbox. Now, we also have some more PlayStation news to talk about, as Yoshida made an interesting comment at the corporate strategy meeting that caught a lot of attention online, and that was his answer on why they're acquiring Bungie. You can actually see what he said here. "We believe it will be a catalyst to enhance our live service capabilities. Our acquisition of Bungie also represents a major step forward in becoming more multi-platform." Now, it's that last line there that's garnering so much attention. PlayStation, a company that is known for their exclusive content, is publicly talking about becoming more multi-platform, though I don't think that that is necessarily a huge surprise. Now, what I mean by that, and to be clear, I don't think that this statement means that they'll suddenly be releasing their first-party content on Xbox consoles. Outside of Bungie games, which has already confirmed they will continue to release their future games on Xbox. But however, for the rest of PlayStation Studios, it's a sign that they are taking PC gaming a little bit more serious. This is something that we've seen from Sony here in recent years. Sony has released various first-party games on PC, including Uncharted, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Death Stranding, among several other games as well. And by all means, it sounds like they're not quite finished just yet. I would absolutely expect more PlayStation PC ports over the next couple of years, and in fact, I think this is really just the beginning of a much more aggressive PC-based strategy, and I say this for really a few different reasons. One, Sony's been having success on PC, so I think that that's kind of opened their eyes, but also because they did acquire Nixxes last year, which in fact specializes in porting games over to PC. I think that alone kind of reveals just how serious they are about PC games, but something else is that they're reportedly set to release 10 live service games over the next couple of years. Now, with any live service game, the one thing that they need is a big community. And how do you expand your community even further? Well, you release them on multiple platforms, and in this case, PlayStation and PC. So I think that there's definitely a possibility that some of these games might launch day one on PC alongside PlayStation. I would not rule that out at all, and I think it's a smart choice. I mean, sure, for you console warriors out there, you lose some of your imaginary ammo, but this does bring PlayStation more money, and we've seen Microsoft do this for quite a while now. They have been releasing their games directly on PC day one, and it doesn't really seem to affect Xbox consoles. And in fact, the Xbox Series is outpacing the Xbox One, despite their games being available on PC as well. I've said it for a while, but really the PC market and console market, they might have some overlap, but it doesn't really seem overly significant either. And also, the more money these platform makers make, well, that also means that they can invest even more into gaming. Making games is very expensive, so the more money that they make, that means that they can make more of these big AAA games that many of you all do like. So yes, I do view this as good overall news for everybody involved. Let me know what you all think about this, though. Do you like the idea of PlayStation investing more into PC gaming, and what do you think about Yoshida's comment stating that Bungie represents them becoming more multi-platform? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, and with recent news revealing that there will be Final Fantasy VII news sometime next month for the 25th anniversary, this has brought up the question on, will we get a Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 reveal, or maybe possibly could we see a port to other platforms such as Xbox and Steam? So because of that, I wanted to go and ask you all, do you still think that Square Enix will port Final Fantasy VII Remake to Xbox? And yeah, you all don't seem overly optimistic on this one, with 49% of you saying no, Sony locked it down. 25% of you, however, did say that yes, but it won't happen this year. And then 17% of you all do believe that yes, it will happen, and it will also release in 2022. So 42% of you all do believe that this port will eventually happen at some point. The 49% of you all, again, I mean, you just are not overly optimistic on this overall topic. And I really can't blame you. It's clear that Sony wants Final Fantasy to be kind of synonymous with the PlayStation brand, so much so that they've actually locked down this massive exclusive here for not just 1 year, but they actually extended its exclusivity for an undefined period of time. We don't exactly know how long this extension will be. It could be another year, it could be 2 years, it could be for the entire generation. For all we know, they might have locked it down just completely. But if they did just kind of extend its contract for an extra year, keep in mind that when they originally announced Final Fantasy VII Remake, right on the box art, it did confirm that it was a year-long exclusive, and that was going to end on April 10th. However, with the Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, it was starting to be reported that they extended that contract, and if it was for another year, that would mean that the contract would end this June. So if that is the case, we could actually get an official announcement for an Xbox port as early as next month after June 10th. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade did release last year on June 10th, so I guess we'll find out here soon enough on whether or not that was a year-long exclusive deal or if it was even longer than that. So I guess we'll find out here soon, but you all definitely seem very split on whether or not this will actually happen. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.